Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Well, everyone, I'm glad everyone made it to their AA meeting. Just kidding. Welcome, everyone. Except you over there in the plaid shirt. And the girl over here with the bell bottoms, you guys can leave. Get out of here. Ah, just kidding. Just kidding. The issue tonight is something serious on everybody's mind, is gun control or the right to bear arms. Now, as far as gun control is, I think it's fairly simple, and I think people ought to understand this, and that it's not so complicated. Gun control is being able to control your firearm. When you fire your firearm or your gun, make sure it is steady. Gun control. Do not have 5 cups of coffee and decide you're going to take your gun out and aim it at something. Okay? Do not give your gun to someone having a seizure. Not a good idea. Do not give your gun to someone, especially a friend, that has the flu, that has the chills. They will not be able to control their gun. Okay? No way. No, seriously though. Gun control, the right to bear arms. Well, as far as that is concerned, folks, let's not give guns to all the nuts out there. Thank God for background checks. And what's the deal with giving people AK-47s and submachine guns? What's the deal with that? I don't believe in gun control as far as taking guns away from everyone. But hey, what about all those crazy people out there? What about those guys? Well, it all started back when we talk about militia and the right to bear arms. We're talking about some people and farmers and people during the Revolutionary War. These guys didn't have a whole lot of guns to go around, okay? Farmer Bob, hey Gene, do you have a musket I can borrow? No, I don't have a musket you can borrow. I don't have one. Hey Jim, you got a musket I can borrow? No, Bob, I don't have one yet. They're too damn expensive. So during the Revolutionary War, they sent Benjamin Franklin overseas to France. They asked France because, hey, Britain was one of their enemies, and it was easy to get money from France. So Benjamin Franklin asked the French, and the French replied, Monsieur Benjamin Franklin, you can have your 6,000 muskets that you asked for, but you cannot have your 40,000 pounds of French fries you asked for. They have not been invented yet. Wait, come back in 150 years and you can get your French fries. So, Benjamin Franklin came back on a boat. He didn't take an airplane. Distributed the 6,000 muskets, and you all know what happened in the end. They won the Revolutionary War. Okay. Skip 150 years in American history, you go up to the 1968 Gun Control Act, which limited the amount and what type of firearms people could purchase. It was very limited, and it also made dealers have licenses. Duh! But guess who one of the biggest supporters of this act was? The NRA. Okay? So if you're scratching your head now, like, wait a minute, the NRA supported some kind of gun control act? What happened in the last 50 years? They've gone from sane to totally nuts. Well, it has to do with some really deep pockets these days, you know what I mean? Lots of deep pockets. And over those 50 years, the NRA has attracted some pretty unique morons. You know the people I'm talking about. The people with the AK-47 and all those guns. So, I propose some controls on the idiots, and my idea is to have a written test for morons. It's a national test, and if you don't pass it, you go straight to prison for the rest of your life. You stay there, and then you take all the people out of prison of color that don't belong there, you know what I mean? And you take out all those people that have tried alternative things to alcohol, okay? Take them out too. They got plenty of room in there, and keep the morons safe and high wall there. All right? Now, considering the NRA, we have completely, but not almost completely, we've closed the door on a lot of firearms, but there's still a lot out there. So we still have a problem in this country. We have enough guns and ammunition in this country for every individual, and that means, you know, like everybody. You know, the little people, the little, here, mommy, here, honey, it's your first birthday. Let me give you a little revolver for you, Billy. Here you go. Oh, Samuel, I guess I forgot about the safety. You know, it's like, we have a lot of guns. And if you compare the number of deaths in this country from guns compared to Canada, it's pretty dramatic. It's like 5 times. Now, you gun nuts, if you draw the lines or the reason for, you know, Canada, they gotta wait in line for health care. They're socialist. Nah, ain't gonna hold up. There is some reason. Okay? You find it. Now, I just want to mention something about the NRA here. Okay? You know, the NRA thinks everybody that wants any kind of gun control is kind of out there, and those pesky fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters of those victims that were killed in those schools, you know, I'm talking Columbine and etc., etc. There's pesky people, and they not going to listen to those people because it's always has to do with those crazies. You know, it doesn't have to do with the firearms. It has to do with the crazies, which is totally nuts too. On logic, if you give a crazy, if you have a submachine gun available for a crazy, hey, it's a no-brainer. So, let's pretend I'm on the street and I'm going to, let's say I interviewed your typical person that has a gun, that likes to own guns, a lot of guns, and let's call him Jim Bob Ray. Let's interview him. Jim Bob Ray, how do you, what do you tell us what kind of guns you have? Well, I have a lot of guns. I got 54 rifles, including shotguns, sawed-off shotguns, black powder guns, muskets, and then I have 34 revolvers, which include semi-automatics, and well, I have some surface-to-air missiles, and I have bazookas, and I have 44 gauge, and I have a lot of guns. You can't own too many guns. Well, Jim Bob Ray, when you want to tell us what gives us the right to have those guns? Well, it's a God-given right. It's in the Bible, I think. Isn't it? Isn't it go in the Bible? No, I don't think it's in the Bible. I think it has to do with the Second Amendment, which gives you the right to bear arms. After it says that you have a right to have a militia. Okay, and the last question I'd like to ask you here, Bob, what's the capital of Washington, D.C.? He's not good enough. Alright, now, something I would like to mention that's, I've seen these bumper stickers on pickup trucks, you know, protected by Colt 45. My security system is a rifle behind me. Yeah, pretty dramatic. I want to see a bumper sticker that says, protected by peace activists with love. With love. Well, that's more towards what we should really move towards. And, you know, what about those Dr. Seuss books? You know, weren't they great as kids? You remember Dr. Seuss? I fell in love with reading when I got a hold of Dr. Seuss books. And the one that's most memorable to me is the Butter Battle book. It was about the Zooks and the Gooks. And the Zooks buttered the bread on top, and the Gooks buttered the bread on the bottom. And they didn't like the fact they were different. And they got into some arguments, and then it got in pretty heavy, and they bought some rubber band weapons and were shooting them at each other, and they built a wall. The wall got higher and higher. At the end of the story, they got like nuclear bombs ready to go against each other, okay? The storyline is pretty simple, but are we listening? No, we're not listening. Okay? So, think about that. And I want to give you this last little bit of information, and maybe you'll take it to heart. Hopefully will. And that is that we Americans would like to send our peace and love across the globe in the form of $66 billion worth of armaments every year that we sell to countries that shouldn't have armaments. Peace.